Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I am your host, Harrison Graham. On today's show, we're going to take a look at some bounce-back candidates. We are also live on the Call-In app, so we're going to get your thoughts in a moment. So if you have any thoughts on some players who could bounce back or want to give some thoughts on the players that I mentioned on today's show, stay tuned. We'll let some callers call in here in just a moment. Let's start with Eddie Jackson here, the safety who has been, just this weird player the past couple of years. Last year I thought he played a little better than he did in 2020, but still not to the level of standard that we thought we were getting after 2018 and 2019 when he played at a high level. He got that big contract, and he just hasn't played at that level in 2020 and in 2021. He's got to get back to taking the football away. Got to get back to that form in 2018 and 19. He was a stud. There was a time where we were like, is this the best safety in the NFL? I mean, seriously, they paid him like that. He was, for a while, the second highest paid safety in the league. Now some guys got paid over the last couple of years, but he's still up there in terms of compensation. He is so capable of taking the ball away and being that center fielder type of guy. I think Jaquan Brisker is going to help him get back to that 2018-2019 form. I believe in Eddie Jackson still, but here's the deal. The clock's running. The way his contract's set up, if he doesn't perform this year, the Bears can easily cut him next year with minimal dead cap penalty. So it's do or die time in terms of Eddie Jackson's future with the Chicago Bears. I hope he bounces back. I think he's a strong bounce back candidate based on the investment in the secondary around him. Now it's up to him to embrace this new regime and make some plays here in the 2022 season. Will Eddie Jackson bounce back? And whether you're watching later on YouTube or on Call-In right now, get in the live chat, type Y for yes, type in for no. If you have thoughts on Eddie Jackson, hop in the caller queue, and we will answer some of your questions as well. Y for yes, in for no. Will Eddie Jackson bounce back this year? Number 2, David Montgomery, the running back. And not that he didn't play well last year. He still put up some decent numbers, but injuries kind of hampered Monty's season last year. Missed some time with that ankle injury. Was battling some other nagging things as well when he did play through those things. Ended up just rushing for 849 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. Missed 4 games. Yards per carry dipped a little bit, 3.8. I think a lot of that was poor offensive line play and just overall schematic issues in Matt Nagy's system. But I think this is a big year for David Montgomery. It's a contract year. He needs to perform if he wants another deal with the Bears. And even if he doesn't get another deal with the Bears, he needs to perform so he can get paid by another team. If you're David Montgomery, you want to have your best year yet. 2 years ago was easily his best year when he ran for 1,070 yards and caught for 438 and had 10 total touchdowns. If he has a year like that, there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in paying him decent money, including the Chicago Bears, I would imagine. So big year for him. He wants to have his best year ever. If he stays healthy in this new system, I think there's a chance that could end up happening. Hit that subscribe button here on Call-In as we continue to grow. We go live every single week to answer all of your questions after our Tuesday live shows. If you're watching on YouTube, link is chatsports.com/BearsCallin. So go ahead and subscribe. And plus, the more subscribers we get, we're going to get to do some post-game shows that we'll test out in the preseason where I go live after our watch parties and you guys call into the show and give your thoughts after the Bears win, loss, or dare I say tie, because tying in the NFL does happen. All right, third and final bounce-back candidate, candidate, and then we will open it up and you guys can give your thoughts. Nicholas Morrow, the linebacker. He hasn't played for the Bears before, so obviously it's a little different. And this is a little bit different of a bounce-back candidate. He didn't play last year because he had an ankle injury, but this was a guy who was on the verge of really taking off as an NFL player, in my opinion. Put together a couple of solid seasons with the Raiders, and with his speed and his ability to go sideline to sideline, has the ability to be an every down linebacker and play at a high level. I think that's what the Bears need and are expecting of him. They need him to be rock solid next to Roquan Smith, because after these two guys, a lot of question marks at linebacker. I mean, is Matt Adams reliable? Is Jack Sanborn going to be that? Caleb Johnson? I think it's Nick Morrow and Roquan Smith playing the majority of snaps at the linebacker position. So hopefully he can deliver, and hopefully he can bounce back and stay healthy and put together his best season yet here in 2022. All right, before I open it up, name a player that will bounce back in 2022 for the Chicago Bears. Go ahead and predict it for us in the comments section. All right, we're going to take a call here. Jeremy Hood is on the line. Everybody else waiting, feel free to call in or hop on the call queue. Jeremy, do you have any thoughts on some potential bounce-back candidates for the Bears?
Hey, Harrison. Yeah, I do. I think one unpopular one people aren't talking about is Cody Whitehair. I think his his running blocking ability is good. Passing wise, in that spread offense, I don't think he's really good one on one. We've seen him get exposed, but with the play action offense that we're instilling, I think he'll have that year.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I appreciate that, Jeremy. And if you have any other questions, by the way, we'll answer some other questions later on, so stick with us here on the Call-In app. Cody Whitehair is a good one, and one that I thought about including, but I thought you guys would mention yourself, because just a few years ago, this was a guy that was like a fringe Pro Bowl type of offensive lineman. He's played center and guard in the NFL at high levels before. Now, last year was a disappointing season for him. He did not play well, like Jeremy just said there, as a pass blocker, really struggled. But I think this scheme should help him. He's fairly mobile, should be able to pull some in this zone running scheme, play actions like he's talking about. So I think Cody Whitehair is a guy to keep an eye on this year as a primary bounce back. And if he bounces back, that'll go a long way, because you should feel good about him and Lucas Patrick in the interior there. Get a couple other guys playing well up front. This offensive line could play a lot better. Before we get to our next caller, also subscribe on YouTube. If you're listening on the Call-In app, it's youtube.com/BearsNow. I publish videos every single day on Bears Now on YouTube. Go support us over there. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously, just hit that subscribe button. All right, Trevor T will get his thoughts here on the Call-In app in terms of bounce-back candidates. Trevor, welcome in. If you unmute yourself in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, give me some thoughts on some bounce-back candidates, maybe someone I mentioned or someone I'm not thinking of right now.
Hey, Harrison. Thanks for letting me on here. I guess my biggest one would probably be David Montgomery. Like you said, I just think that this year is going to be his prove it year, kind of, with the new regime in there. Although I do kind of think that Khalil Herbert could be getting some of the workload, because, they don't want to put everything on him and risk more injuries like there was last year. But I would definitely say Montgomery is my most anticipated player besides Justin Fields, but I don't know if we can really consider his a bounce back.
Yeah, since I left him off, and feel free to give thoughts here, only because last year, it's not his rookie year this year, but it almost is. And to me, to bounce back, you kind of have to have proven you've played at a high level before. Not that Fields didn't have his moments last year, but it's not like he was great 2 years ago, was bad last year, and has a chance to bounce back. You know what I mean? So I didn't include him as a bounce-back candidate. So
yeah, Fields, it's just I guess just saying what everybody else says about him, I just feel like there's a lot of kind of negative news around him compared to the other rookie QBs, but he was in a pretty bad.
Exactly. Yeah, he
with not playing half of the year. So.
Yeah, he got hurt. The coaches didn't put him in a good position to succeed. They didn't give him reps. Appreciate the call, Trevor. Listen, back on David Montgomery, who he mentioned, he's got a lot to prove. New regime, running back's a position that a lot of players don't get second contracts from the team that drafted him. So he's playing not only to show the Bears, but to show the league, hey, I got a lot of juice left. I can be a primary runner for a lot of teams in this league. So we'll see what he brings to the table. Like we asked earlier, go ahead and let us know who your bounce-back candidate is for the Chicago Bears. Let me know down in the comments section.